been a while.
Need to do what? Sound test.
Hi guys, you are live.
Yeah, we're live.
Can see, confirm.
Yeah, live from Singapore.
Live from Singapore. Yay. Okay, let's start. Okay, thank you very much for joining. Today we have a special guest. Darren Yong will be joining us, and we don't have Chicken here. So maybe he will pop up later. But we have Kelvin and Eric and myself, Bunti. We'll try, three of us try to co-host these sessions. So hopefully it will work without Chicken, so that we can show to him, yes, without him, it will work. Welcome to the show, Darren.
Thank you.
So just
Episode number 14. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I didn't count what's the episode, but this is our second live episode, so we don't do live that often. So actually, the first things I just want to ask Darren is that this synchronized light show, right? I saw that on your YouTube channel. Looks very interesting. So actually, how to do the sync? Just want to know who do the. Is there a special software to do the lights together with music sync? Yeah.
Yes. So again, as you all know, if you've been in a Tesla before, it's like a computer. So you just think of it like as a big iPad. This controls your whole car, right? And so inside, it's a computer. It's like Android, iOS. So they have their own software. So Tesla, to create fun, they've got this feature called Toy Box. Toy Box has all those different fun things like fart sounds. The other thing they have is Light Show. Light Show has been around for years. But in the past, when you want to put a few cars together and play the Light Show at the same time, you have to do it manually. In the past, you have to close the door manually and then you'll start. So imagine the four of us want to do a light show. Okay, I'll say like 3, 2, 1, close the door. And if you close by like half a second late, the sound is off, the lights are off. December, Tesla released a new software update that allowed us to synchronize it. You just select the song, then at the bottom, select the time. So we say, okay, I want everyone to start the light show at 10:05 p.m. Set it in your cars. You click on that, you click start, it's like scheduling a light show. It's like how you schedule a YouTube live stream. So you see a countdown timer, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then all the cars start at the same time. This is a new software feature, which speaks to one of the big advantage everyone acknowledges about Tesla, its software.
Yep. I think for those who don't know what we are talking about, please check out on Darren's channel. So that's the latest video that showed the light show. I think that's quite a big crowd there and very interesting. And this is the second live show, right? You just mentioned, yeah.
It's the second big synchronized Tesla light show we've done in Singapore. The first one was last month, where we did the Christmas songs and the custom light show. Huge credits and kudos to the Tesla community in Singapore. There are very few car communities where, usually when you think car communities, you think like young, single, male, V8 engines, right? But the cool thing with Tesla community is that it's very family friendly. They're EVs, so they're silent. There's not much, you don't really do much more, there's no engine. They were kids. Every time we have events, there are kids one. So you see all the videos, there are children there. Actually, behind the scenes, what we do is we get the kids to count down. So I'll pick all the young kids and say, okay, can you, like, Isabel, can you count down to 3, 2, 1? And then we all say, what ah? So the kids love it. And the kids enjoy the light show. The parents enjoy the light show. The light show is like McDonald's Happy Meal. It draws kids. And then the parents come in. Then they realize, this is not bad. This is quite cool. Some of the owners had their parents last night. The parents saw it, it's like, wow, I didn't know a car could do that. So I think the whole community coming together, creating some fun is really nice.
Yep, exactly. I think very cool community. And so far, I think only Tesla can do this kind of synchronized light show. I'm not aware of other brands can do that. Okay, that's just opening while waiting for people to join the sessions. So I will kick off the real content, the real questions soon. But if I just want to check, Kelvin or Eric, do you have anything to add? Or if not, I will just kick start.
Yes, you forgot the very important thing. You must always say, help us click that like button. You didn't say it.
No, I save it for you. Okay.
Please help us click the like button.
Sure. Okay, the first question actually came from me. The viewers following our channels, for sure, you know we talked about Tesla quite a few times, and today we get Terence to comment on a lot of questions that we have. One of the key topics that the community, Tesla investor community, has been discussing about is about the price cut. So early this year, Tesla announced a huge price cut, and this is global price cut. So it affects China, US, Australia, and long list of countries. And then they just had the investor earnings call just 1 day or 2 days ago. Okay, so just want to know, come back to the price cut questions, right? So I think there are people who are quite concerned that once you cut the price, the margin will drop. So that will affect their financials. That's one thing. Secondly, because if Tesla need to reduce the price in order to stay competitive, right? So the business, you'll be seen as a commodity business. So I just want to, not like acting like a bear, just want to throw these questions to Darren, because I think these are questions that I think many Tesla investors are concerned with. So Darren's your comment.
First, stop spreading the FUD. Now, from a headline perspective, when a company says they're cutting prices, the natural reaction is, that's not good. If your product is so in demand, why would a company cut prices? However, there have been a history where successful products cut prices, whether it's in consumer goods products or Apple. Not many people know, I think about 1-2 years after iPhone's launch, they cut the price by 30%. iPhone cut the price by 30%. To most people, you see the headline, well, Apple's not selling iPhones, not doing well. That's why they cut the price by 30%. But the sales ballooned. And we now see that iPhones are where they are today, doing relatively well. With Tesla, price is just one variable of margins. What's margins? Price and cost, yes? So we hear the headlines on price. The headlines don't talk a lot about cost. Actually, what happens is there's different articles about cost, different articles about price, yes? So you see some articles from last year. Tesla makes 4 times more profits per car sold than Toyota, 3 times more profits per car sold than BYD, 2 times more profits per car sold than Volkswagen. So what a great investor, long-term investor does is puts together all of these different pieces. You put the puzzle together. So if I'm looking at margins, I need to not just know price, but cost. So let's look at the facts. 2017, Tesla's average selling price was $100,000. Back then, its operating margin was minus 14%. Now, 2022, selling price dropped by half. Average selling price is now $50,000. If you stop here, most people think this company is done for, close shop already. But the operating margin has grown to positive 17%. Price went down by half, margins went up significantly. Why? This is a manufacturing business. So we know if you have friends working in manufacturing, Bunti, you study a lot about semiconductor. We know how important scale is, economies of scale are. So Wright's law. You all heard of Wright's law before?
Yeah, I
Bunti,
think this one is from the Katie Woods, right? So she's promoting that a lot.
So now whether that is like toxic bull narrative is a different story lah. But the idea is for every doubling of production, the cost will go down by 20%. So if you think about how much Tesla's production has on average since 2020 grown by about 50% year on year. So a price reduction in the context of a manufacturing company that can reduce costs as well, it may not always necessarily lead to a very negative margin scenario. The margins could actually stay the same. In fact, in the earnings call, Elon and Zach Kekon, the CFO, were asked, if there's a big recession, isn't it going to be worse for your margins? And they said, actually, if the recession is very bad, we may make more margins. Why? Because there's a deflationary pressure on input costs. If the raw material costs go down, your competitors are no longer around. Everything is cheaper. Tesla may become more profitable if the recession is very severe. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah, but I think, depending on what input prices, right? I recall, let's say the lithium prices, which they mentioned quite a fair bit. The lithium prices has came down a bit, but still much higher than compared to, let's say, 2 years back, right? So I don't know how they calculate like all the average cost per car, but it looks like it is still not going down very fast, at least if we just monitor in the past, let's say 1 to 2 years.
Yes, average cost of goods sold is higher than before. So in the past, Tesla's average cost of goods sold was about 33,000. It went up to 40,000. Now it dropped to 37,000. So it's not down to 33,000. It's probably going to be quite hard to go down to 33,000 until they launch the third generation car. That third generation car will fuel their product expansion and margin growth as well from 2024 onwards. So we got another 12 to 18 months to see that play out. The other thing is, because of their vertical integration like BYD, that means they're in a lot more control of cost. The same principle applies to when Elon Musk wanted to build rockets. He first went to Russia to try to pay like 80 million to launch something to Mars and told him to F off. So he built his own rockets. And now the launch costs are 1/3 the cost. I think if you control the buying, you cut off the middleman. That's like how Tesla does not have distributors. No car dealers, one middleman's gone. But if you look at the supply chain, there's also a lot of middle people as well, integrators. If you go straight to the source, you know, like how many years ago Tesla made their own car seats? Not because they wanted to, but because they were so small back then, nobody wanted to make car seats for Tesla. They said, go away. So they made their own. But unintended positive side effect of that is that their cost of making seats are much lower, and their ability to pivot and change to respond to consumer demands are much higher. So I think because companies like Tesla and BYD are vertically integrated and expanding the vertical integration, they are in more control of their costs, especially if you just think of them as only as a car company. So you compare with the rest of the car industry, this is considered best in class already as a car company.
Yeah, that's true, right? I think during COVID period, other car makers can't even produce the car, and Tesla is the one that able to produce because they control this vertical integration. Just shows that how strong are they, and all these benefits, right? In terms of cost, in terms of supply, and so on. I think that's they are. I mean, capitalizing on their strength currently, even though we are in a deflationary environment. So I'll pass to Kevin.
So
looks like Kevin
I would say that like this recession actually is sort of beneficial to Tesla in a way, because they have so much margin to withstand, so much margin and so much cash to withstand this recession, and like everyone else can't even sell their cars at a profit, much less reduce car prices. Otherwise, they will just go bankrupt. So I think you will just bring the whole distance between the Tesla and the competitors much more further during this recession. But one of my question is that this price cut, right? It fluctuates quite a bit. Like first, the early this month they tried to cut car prices by 20% in the US and Europe. Then suddenly they saw there was, and also in Singapore.
Waiting for Singapore.
Yeah, then when they saw that there was demand, they raised back the Model Y prices by $500.
Correct.
So it's like
one specific variant, the long range Model Y, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it seems like demand is back again, and and it seems like Tesla can keep doing this as long as there are demand for Tesla.
Yeah, it's almost like a real-time auction, right? So that's the cool thing when you don't have a third party, where you don't have car dealers. With car dealers, you got to negotiate with them, take a few weeks, take a few months. They will push back saying our margins are very important and all of that. So if you're selling direct to consumer, you get to change the price however you want. It's supply and demand. The pricing transparent, right? If let's say the Model Y now is 50,000, if you want to buy it now, you buy it now. If you don't want, you think you wait 2 months, you go down to 45,000, you buy. But wait 2 months and you make it to 60,000 as well.
Wouldn't that sort of piss off the customers? I saw that in China when they reduce price, people go and vandalize their shops, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do it long enough, like then it will sort of piss them off, right? I know.
So then if Tesla increase the price, should the owners then give ang pao to Tesla?
It's always less is better.
Yeah, so it works two ways. It's a free market. You see the price, you make your own decision on whether you buy or sell. It's like stocks. Like if Tesla stock price goes up by double, then what do? Do you give back Elon Musk the money?
The same thing, right? Because for those who bought in and then suddenly really short period of time, the share price tanked 10%, they also angry, right? So, and we're talking about stocks people buy in, like few thousand maybe at max 10,000. Now talking about car, much more expensive, right? Tens of thousands. Then after they buy, suddenly just immediately, let's say one week later, price drop. For sure, they get angry, right?
Yes.
How to manage a situation like this?
That feeling is understandable. So I think that's where Tesla's opportunity, the biggest opportunity is always in how it communicates. Like at least share your principles. Like let people know how you think. So example of Tesla communicates, we will always adjust prices based on our cost of production. That means it could go up, it could go down. If they are transparent, they share it up front. I think that's one way of managing expectations. I think if people's expectations are managed, then it's helpful, and that's something that Tesla can consider doing.
Yeah, right now they don't really have a PR team, and I think it's sort of they can't really defend themselves if like for example Elon is to like talk nonsense on Twitter. That's why their brand reputation keeps dropping. I feel that like they really need a PR team, especially when they are growing this fast and when they are pissing off people left and right.
So there's a bit of nuance here. There's PR, then there's also marketing, right? Marketing is advertising and also just like events. Tesla does a lot of marketing. The PR from Tesla is basically Elon Musk and all of those people who are big fans, people like me, whole Musk catalog, all these kind of people all around the world, who are basically free PR. In fact, the free PR from third-party non-Tesla employees is more credible. If you have a Tesla PR person telling Kelvin, "Oh, our cars are very good," he's like, of course he's going to say that. You get paid by Tesla. But if I tell Kelvin that the cars are very good, then he's going to think a little bit,
No.
why is Darren
He will say,
saying that?
of course, Darren will say that.
The stock.
he's our cult leader. Of course, he
Yeah,
will say
so-
that.
Of course he'll say that, right? But then if another friend, let's say like Eric, gets a Tesla one day and he tells you that, you know what, my view has changed. So I think that's a Tesla. I see that as a strength. So while most people see no PR as a like a burden, I see it as a strength. Like, can you imagine any other company that can survive without a PR team? It's very hard. Tesla has pulled it off so far. So that's another perspective to see it.
What does Eric think about this? Do you really like the fact that Tesla don't have a PR team?
I don't actually think that they actually need a PR team. They actually have, if I'm not wrong, they actually have an official Tesla Twitter account and official kind of, I think it's China based, and they actually rebut and refute some of the false fake news. But there was one incident recently, right, which I was quite disturbed by it, which they actually said that Tesla plans to shut down production for 2 weeks in China at the end of last year. I don't know whether you guys remember. And then Tesla China came out and said that, oh, no, fake news. Then they really shut down. It's like, what are you doing, man? Like, shouldn't you confirm with the production people that you are going to shut down to temper, I think, the demand and the supply? Then, of course, if you have planned it, you come out and say we will understand it. But if you say fake news and within 2 weeks it actually happened, it doesn't look very good on Tesla. Like someone is their official spokesperson. So that was one incident. I think it was not well managed. It could have been better done, but I don't think it requires a so-called official PR team. Just like maybe having an official channel is good enough, but they should double check first before they announce anything. I just want to check with Darren. Have you bought your Tesla already?
No, not yet.
You haven't bought?
Yeah.
I think better buy soon because the discount is here.
In Singapore's context, we haven't got the 20% price cuts yet.
Okay. So you're waiting for more discount.
A car for my family is a luxury. It's not a must-have. So we can wait. And also in Singapore's context, the certificate of entitlement, category B, it's still 105,000.
Oh dear.
It's 105,000 now. At the beginning of 2021, it was 35,000. 35,000, 105,000. We can wait. Look, for the people who prefer,
Darren's
who
timing the
wait,
market.
I'm waiting. Long term. For people who want a car now, especially for luxury car buyers, if you're already buying a Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Tesla is still a solid choice. I recommend it easily. For
Yeah.
people like me, where I don't need a car right now, it's discretionary. The tech industry has layoffs. I can afford the whole.
I think it is not a necessity, right? So that one you can wait. But you know what are the things that cannot wait? That's the smashing the like button. I don't know how many
Wow.
of you are here, so
Bunty,
haven't
nice.
smashed the like.
Wow,
like
you
button.
Smash
channel
it.
chicken leh. You channel chicken.
Come on.
Yeah, we have to prove to chicken. Without him, we are all fine. Okay.
We all put
So,
the moon background here for you all to smash the like button. I just want to wrap up
Yes.
Eric's point and come back to you. So as Eric mentioned, Tesla and all of Elon Musk companies have Twitter accounts. There was a third-party company that just posted a tweet recently saying that Tesla gets about 1.2 million likes on Twitter per month. And the rest of the entire car industry gets less than 50,000 likes. And these are companies that advertise on Twitter as well. So I think the level of organic engagement is powerful. It doesn't mean the likes itself doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean they will sell more car or people love the car more, but it's still one signal.
That's called
Yes,
a
Mo.
cult.
That's the way.
Darren doesn't even try to deny it. It's like we are a cult.
That's right. You just have to face the facts. And I also agree on the communications in China as well. This is a pain point for many owners in many markets also. Like you get a car, you're servicing a car. Consistent ask is please just tell us, just communicate, be clear. That's all. That's the ask. Oftentimes, Tesla's policy will be, oh, we don't make forward-looking statements. So then it frustrates people even more because I'm not asking you to make forward-looking statements. I'm just asking you to set clear expectations. Just tell me what can or cannot do. That's all. No problem. So that's a tension. That's a real tension. Owners face it. Tesla's aware of it. We see how much they improve that.
Actually, recently there was this I think Twitter storm about share buyback, right? I'm sure you're aware that a lot of people are pushing for share buybacks. I think the Leo, right? I think he was most vocal about it. Like it is really pushing it. But I think that was the time that I thought that Tesla could have come out to say something about their plans, you see, because there's valid points on both sides of the story. I just want to find out what is your thoughts. Have you thought about the pros and cons, and do you think that Tesla actually made the right decision then? Not now lah. Now of course we we see that okay, it's the right decision, but then how do you feel about it?
Then, given the level of uncertainty, we don't know whether we'll hit a recession or not. People keep on saying, oh, they got 20 billion in cash reserves, just use it. What are you doing it for? I feel like because Tesla is still so early in its expansion phase, even as just a car company, because it's still so early in the expansion phase, that more leeway should be given to them on how they want to use their cash reserves. And this is a company who, if all of us work in Tesla before, we worked since 2018, and we were like weeks away from bankruptcy. Our relationship with cash is very different. We will not part with our cash when we are employees in the company weeks away from bankruptcy. We felt the pain before. It was so close to shutting down, closing shop. So you imagine the psychology of a team working through that. Would you just give cash in buybacks? Very unlikely. But management did say that, again, we won't give you a plan, but give us some time to pace it well. And so Tesla Investor Day on 1st March is just 5 weeks away. They're going to talk about it. They're likely just going to share what's our long-term plan. Because stock buybacks are not a one-off thing. They're usually a multi-year plan. Just like Apple, right? Apple say, okay, we're going to have a multi-year plan. There was news that Tesla also just took a credit line, right? A debt line, credit line of 5 billion. That is like what Apple did. Apple had to take a credit line to get higher S&P rating, like AAA rating. And then that set the stage for them to also do stock buybacks over time, over a larger amount of time.
Yeah,
because of
but
so much uncertainty. If Tesla committed to start stock buyback, say last year, and maybe they're at a 10 billion, 15 billion cash position, they may have been more vulnerable in getting more favorable deals from banks, from suppliers, or even as they negotiate with governments. Because they're doing so much negotiation to build new factories. They just announced an expansion in a Nevada factory. So it's like, if you're very popular, you have a lot more leverage, correct? So for companies, if you have a lot of cash, people know, governments know, other companies know, banks know, they can't mess around with you because they know you have options. If all of us go to Genting Highland or Sentosa, we want to eat sneakers, no choice. You want to pay 50% more. You don't like it, don't eat sneakers. Same with McDonald's. McDonald's pricing is higher in Genting Highland and Sentosa. So the cash, I feel, gives Tesla a lot more options in an uncertain time. If this was a bull market, I believe that Tesla's reaction would have been more different as well.
Maybe
But
we are in a bull market already.
Yeah, and people probably wouldn't be asking for stock buyback in the bull market as well.
But I'm just curious, right? Like a little bit of digression here. For companies that are so cash rich, right? Like Meta, Google, Alphabet rather, they're so cash rich. Why do they need to lay off so many employees? Like, couldn't they work something out? Like, give them a reduced pay or something? Like, I'm just curious. How does it work? Like, they just have to lay off all these people. Your salary not negotiable.
So I'm going to speak in broad strokes rather than one.
Yeah, broad strokes. Yeah, broad strokes.
Broad strokes, it's not so much that you've got 100 billion, 200 billion in cash. The general idea is, are you a good custodian of the company's resource? That means investors are going to board of directors and saying, yes, we know you have a lot of cash, but in a tough time when your demand is going down, do you really need to spend so much money? That's fair, right?
yeah, it's not a charity.
Correct. It's like, okay, imagine you've got a very healthy kid, 6-pack, but he's just eating like Maggie mee every day. You're still going to tell a person, maybe cut down on the Maggie mee, even though you're super healthy. So I think part of it is the leadership of the company needs to show that they're good custodians, that they're right sizing given the demand, the midterm economic projections. So one thing that Apple has done well is, while most tech companies have grown headcount by 30, 50% in the past 3 years during COVID, Apple has grown in a more steady pace. They've only grown a headcount, I think, about 17%. Disclosure, I'm an Apple investor. But what it means is that Apple right now is one of the few major tech companies that hasn't done major layoffs. That means like 10, 20,000 people. Every company will like not replace teams, not replace departures. They will have performance reviews. But Apple, because they've grown in a more steady way, that means they don't have to decline in a very sharp way as well.
Yeah. You can actually argue that this is Elon's fault as well, because he go and acquire Twitter and just fire 70% of the workers, and Twitter still work well. The last I checked just now, Twitter still can use. So it just shows that actually all these companies, they may not need so many workers. There are people that really not that important. Not to say not important, it's like not critical. So if those are the costs that you can cut and still doing okay.
Yeah.
Bunty, you want to go with the FSD question?
No, actually, that FSD questions come from who? Is Eric, you, right?
Know.
So before we go to FSD
No.
questions, just to wrap up on Bunty's point, right? Twitter, for people, they're not scared of Twitter's failure. If Twitter fails, no problem. People are scared of Twitter's success because there are a lot of C-level leaders now asking, if companies can survive with so much less, why can't we? And that's scary. Let's talk about FSD.
That's true.
Okay, so Bunty don't want to ask, I ask. So Darren, what's your thoughts on Elon, his promise, his everlasting promise for FSD, right? Since 2014, we'll get it done this year. This year. So it has been how many years? I think 8 years already, right? This will be the 9th year that he said that FSD will be ready by this year, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. Because he is also the one that also claims that Tesla is worth zero. I mean, when he said that, I think a lot of us felt that he's just a bit exaggerating. Tesla is not really worth zero because of the hardware also. It's not just the software. So I think we can understand where it's coming from. He's just exaggerating the point to make it obvious to us that FSD is very important. But I want to ask your opinion, right? Like, how important is FSD to the survival of Tesla, or even to justify the valuation currently?
Like current valuation, FSD is not meaningful at all. It doesn't impact current valuation in any meaningful way. Most institutional investors agree that like Tesla's price right now, like 160, is fair value. It can probably continue growing as a car company without FSD. So FSD, it's forward looking. It's like Apple in 2003. It's got iPod. How much does iPhone come into this valuation? Zero. Apple would have been a very successful company with MacBooks and iPod and iMacs. What Elon says, he's shared this many times ago in podcasts over the years. He often gives crazy or impossible deadlines because he feels like if he tells his employees, we will solve FSD 5 years from now, they'll just wait 5 years from now to solve it. He feels that if he gives the deadline that is now, worst case, they miss the deadline. But what's more likely to happen is the actual reality accelerates. That means they're actually that much closer to solving it. Now, for us as like retail investors or the general public, this comes across like this person is bullshitting. And that's a fair perspective to have. For those of us long-term investors who've heard from Elon over the years, we've seen the ups and downs, whether like he says Tesla stock is overvalued or he says FSD will be solved this year again for 9 years. Last year, January, he said version 11 of FSD will be out in a few weeks. It's been more than a year. So Elon always says we excel in turning the impossible to the late. So he's still on brand for delivering things late. So here's the facts. While it's late, and it seems like promises, the truth is not 0 to 1, right? It's not like they don't have FSD versus they completely solve it. The truth is gray. So that gray right now is Tesla has 400,000 FSD beta paying subscribers. So if they paid the subscription plan, which is cheaper than paying $15,000 upfront, so that let's say they only pay $199 per month, that means that 400,000 install base is $80 million per month of almost pure profits after you take away the fixed costs. Per year, annualized, that's 1 billion revenue run rate. What other car company today is making 1 billion revenue run rate on their autonomy software? What other car company is having that right now? This is real money right now to Tesla. That means even before solving FSD, they're already making 1 billion revenue run rate on software, which is super high margin. So the other perspective is when they solve FSD, that 1 billion run rate will be 5, 10, 15 billion, especially as the hardware fleet expands. Right now, we've got about 3 million plus Teslas on the road. By end of this year, you plus the 1.8 million, get around 5 million plus Teslas on the road. The Teslas today, everyone in short term is focused on, okay, when they sell this car, what's the margin? Oh, is the margin only 20%? But Zach Kirkman, the CFO, said that I want you to think of Tesla in the future not as automotive margin, but as our total company operating margin. That means this is like when we buy a Blade or when we buy a Nintendo Switch. The money is not in this in the future. The real money is in all the add-ons. In this computer there, they can buy Tesla insurance. They say Tesla insurance is growing faster than the car business. In this computer here, they can buy full self-driving. In the future, they will eventually launch an app store. It wouldn't make sense to not launch an app store in the future when you got a bigger and bigger install base. So I think that whatever that it comes out and we see headlines or we have our initial reactions, Elon Musk always encourages to look at things at first principles. Nothing's 100% good, nothing's 100% bad. What's the truth today? And for long-term investors, the truth today is FSD beta is generating 1 billion per year annualized run rate. It will grow. I'm not even counting the normal FSD that other people are buying outside of US and Canada.
So how long do you think it will take? Like what's the expectation? Say if we just close our eyes 3 years later, where are we? Is FSD still driving like a kid, or is it like already moved to like what teenager age? already like at the level of just got the license?
Right now, FSD beta drives like a driving school student or someone who just passed driving school. The problem with FSD beta is it works well under the right supervision. It's kind of like using like all my Sony cameras to film videos. It's a very good tool, but if I just pass it to my daughter now, it's not going to work well. It's going to be a very frustrating experience. So it hasn't got to the stage where it passed the girlfriend test, like the iPhone. You pass iPhone to someone else, you know that they won't screw it up. The chance of screwing up is very low. So I think that's where FSD beta is. It's what I'm trying to say is that it's good, but it's not intuitive. It's not Apple level of it just works. I don't need to supervise it. That's the problem. It's good because it works 95% of the time. But the 5% of the time where there's an edge case, and if the person doesn't pay attention, it can cause problems. So like imagine you got a jar of M&Ms. There are 100 M&Ms in there, but 2 or 3 of them could be poisonous. Of course, you wouldn't take it right now. But if you are an expert, you know the poisonous one are the pink color one. I avoid all the pink M&Ms. Then it's fine.
I don't know if you guys noticed that if you check Tesla's annual capacity based on different factories, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday I was looking at the earnings report. I actually saw that there's a robo-taxi near the end.
That's right.
Robo-taxi and others. So I went to check when did they start adding that into their charts. It was back in Q1 2022. So and before the robo-taxi, just above the robo-taxi is the Roadster. So and just above the Roadster is Tesla Semi. So it feels like right after Tesla Semi, Tesla will focus on Roadster next. Then after that, robo-taxi might be next already. So I feel that like even if it's not within the next 1 or 2 years, to me it feels like within this decade, by 2030, robo-taxi could be out already by then. And also I feel that full self-driving doesn't have to be perfect right now, because if you see elsewhere, right, like for example China, BYD is using that in places like Chongqing. Even for Singapore, just 4 days ago, the Ngee Poly actually started their driverless bus service, but it's driving a very slow pace. So I guess for Tesla, they are trying to aim for 100% full self-driving kind of full self-driving. So if they try to set the bar a bit lower, right, they are actually quite capable of releasing it anytime ready. They just want to make it more perfect than it is right now.
Agree. Tesla is trying to really solve it in first principles. That means like truly fundamentally solve autonomy. But if Tesla just said, like Kelvin's point, okay, this technology is going to be used for buses that goes the same bus route, it's probably going to work fine. Or this is going to be used for golf carts or vehicles traveling below 50 kilometers per hour. It's probably going to work fine. Or this technology is going to be used for all the Tesla Semi that goes on very specific delivery routes. It's probably going to work fine. But because of Tesla's ambitious goals, it's taking a long time. So Andrej Karpathy, the former head of the AI team working on this, he was sharing in a recent podcast. He said, because we're solving a problem that hasn't been solved before, it may look easy to us. We think like, how hard is it to make a car drive itself? But as they actually work on it, all the edge cases or all the unintended side effects come in. So every time we think that, okay, we're going to solve this already, next month confirm and done, you suddenly realize there's a new problem that pops up. And nobody else in the world has done this before. It's the first time doing this. So right now, it feels like a big deal to us because it's late, it's terrible. But once it's solved, no one's going to care that it was late. The moment SpaceX landed the Falcon 9 rocket, people stopped saying that Elon Musk was 6 months late, 5 months late in that reusable rocket. Do we care if Apple launched the iPhone in 2017 or 2018? No one remembers, no one cares. So as long-term investors, we need to focus. Can Tesla, the more important question is, can Tesla solve this? Do I believe that Tesla can solve this? And if you believe that Tesla can solve this, that's the more important thing to know. If you don't believe that they can solve it, then that's a different story. Because whether it solve it in 2023 or 2024, there is no meaningful long-term impact to me.
I wonder how long it will take for them to, how to say, how long will it take for them to say, okay, now it is at the level that I'm okay to take up the liability. You know, when they say we are okay to take out the liability, you just use the FSD. If there's any accident, our insurance cover. If there's any losses, we cover. I mean, the key part is when they will assume the liabilities. That's what's your thought on that?
So I think what's smart about what Tesla is doing now is, so they introduce the Tesla insurance business. That gives them competency to understand risk. So one step before taking liability is understand risk. So in a earnings call, Zach was saying Tesla insurance is not just to make money, which it does, but it actually lowers all other insurance companies' costs because they have to stay competitive, which reduces the total cost of ownership for owning a Tesla, which helps Tesla. They don't care, right? Because they don't need to make money on insurance, they make the cars. But this business over time will give them the competency to really understand what's the risk we can assume. What are the right driver profiles that we can start assuming? Because the levels of autonomy, L2, L3, L4, L5, it's, I think one of our friend Calvin said, right? It's basically just, it's not so much the technology, but whether the company wants to assume the risk. That's what L2, 3, 4, 5 autonomy is. So I think as Tesla insurance expands, I think they can start step by step assuming the risk in markets where they are already a lot more familiar. So let's say like Texas, California, it could start there first. Or they could say, we'll start with anyone who's been owning a Tesla for at least 5 years. Or if you've driven at least 10,000 miles with a Tesla, then you are eligible for this. So again, I don't think it's an on and off switch. I think they can stage it step by step.
Darren, I just want to ask you about your views, right, on BYD, because like Tesla, BYD is also quite integrated vertically in China. And Elon said in the recent earnings, right, he said that they can't really see who's in second place, but most likely is someone from China. I mean, like nowadays we don't hear a lot about Neo, Xpeng, and Li Auto and all that, right? So the one that's always in the news seems to be BYD, because they seem to be able to manage volume production much better than the other three. So I just want to know, what is your views, right? If Tesla were to go into a price war with BYD, right? Like, is it feasible? Because BYD actually have the backing of the China government behind them. So they can afford to, I don't know, like they have all those subsidies as well in China. So they can afford to sell the vehicle maybe at a slight loss to gain the market share. So I don't know. What's your views if they were to go into a price war?
The perspective I'll add to this is BYD is an asset to Tesla. Here's why. Both companies are going to be successful. I love BYD. I've tried their cars. I would recommend their cars to anyone as well. They can both operate at different and similar price points. They can meet in the middle. BYD just launched their premium brand, Yangwang. The reason why BYD is an asset to Tesla is because for long-term investors, one of the biggest risks to Tesla is that they're too successful. Regulatory risk, antitrust risk. With a strong BYD, Tesla then has a cover to say, we're not the only one. Look at this other really strong Chinese company. Do you prefer a strong Chinese company to be successful in Europe or Tesla? So you see how BYD is such an ally to Tesla here. A strong BYD also makes Tesla innovate faster and better. BYD's blade batteries are great. They're actually using structural pack in more cars than Tesla right now. And Tesla engineers don't like to lose, which means BYD is great competition. It is like the moon race. You see the moon around us. If the USSR did not put the Sputnik and put the first animal of human on the moon, the American space program may not feel that much urgency to bring people to the moon. Because once they put people to the moon already, after 1969, wrap up, that's it. Not much progress in space for the next 3 decades. So I think BYD is an asset to Tesla. Both companies can be successful. I want BYD to be successful because it helps Tesla. If there is no BYD, I think it hurts Tesla.
I think you probably heard the mission, transitioning the world to sustainable energy. But I'm just curious, like a European side, BYD is going into there with their, I think, what is that, a seal or something, the most recent, yeah,
That's right.
their most recent car. So I don't know, like their price point seems like very near to Tesla, and I'm just very excited to see what's the outcome. They are both head on. Berlin is ramping up, and then they are going in from China. So it's pretty exciting for me. Yeah.
It is. There are some nuances. Tesla will always be more supported in Europe because of politics. So if you talk to your German friends or your other European friends, you ask them between buying a car from made in China, even Tesla, they'll say, I want to buy a made in Berlin Model Y. I'm okay to wait. I don't need to collect the made in China Model Y now, even though it's an objectively good car. So some people may still have personal preferences, and you look at Europe, it's still a lot more US and Tesla friendly.
Could it be because of the supercharging network also, like Tesla has in Europe? Is it like far superior or something like that? Could be.
Globally, the supercharger network is far superior to most other options. The good thing is that even in Europe, Tesla is slowly opening up the supercharger to other car brands. So actually, in many places, if you have a BYD, say in Norway or in Sweden, you could probably just go to the supercharger and charge it also.
Okay.
Darren, you talk very favorably on BYD. Would you ever consider investing in BYD or not?
The short answer is no, because it's hard for me to anticipate the upsides and downsides, because the Chinese government is very unpredictable for investors. Xi Jinping is comfortable with that risk. I'm not. And that's okay. You have many paths to success. It's like how the companies we admire, that we may not work for them as an employee. We like them as investors. We may not like them as employees. Same thing.
Okay.
Okay, I got some speculative question I want to ask Darren. Like, what do you think is the next vehicle that Tesla is going to announce March the 1st? It's obviously it's not confirmed lah. We're just speculating, right? What do you think is the next vehicle type? Is it like a van, compact? I don't know. Other than a Cybertruck is already out lah. So
It's likely compact sedan or compact SUV, because they already made it very clear that we announced a third gen platform. Everything else, if it's Roadster or Cybervan, it won't deliver meaningful volumes, and it will not support Tesla's mission of accelerating the world's transition. If you look at price point, the majority of cars in the world are the $25,000 price point. So that means they need the compact sedan or a compact SUV to fulfill their mission and to also achieve their volume growth. On the B2B side, they've got a long headroom to ramp up Tesla Semi. Tesla Semi, the new factory in Nevada, is only supporting North America. By far, the biggest semi market in the world is China. So they will still need to build a factory for Tesla Semi in China eventually. Then once they solve the Semi, then they can do the vans and everything else. Then of course there's Cybertruck. The Cybertruck we know it will slowly ramp up in North America first. So that's my take. I think it'll be the compact sedan or compact SUV. Hopefully Tesla just shows like our third generation platform is truly a platform, right? Here's a base. You can plug in a sedan and SUV. These two would fulfill, I'll say, once they can launch these two, then 80% of the world's addressable car market, then Tesla is playing there.
Actually, there's one question from Slido. I just plugged one. I think that's quite interesting one. So it's anonymous. He's asking, what will be the deal breaker for Tesla? How much cheaper does Tesla cars need to go for you to sell? If they start selling at a loss, will you sell?
Do any of you want to share your perspective before I share mine? Almost everyone here is a Tesla investor, so you all have a stake in the game as well. Kelvin, haven't heard from you so much yet. What do you think?
I think late last year, Elon, was it late last year? A few weeks ago, Elon actually said that in order to boost, their their goal for this year is actually not to be profitable or something like that, right? They just want to sell as many cars as they can this year. So even if it's they are selling at a loss, I think I'm fine with it, because in the end, this whole car sales thing is just a one-off thing. The bigger price is actually on insurance, on the rest of the things that comes with the car after selling it, like FSD, insurance, services, whatever. So it's like a bit like the Amazon kind of thing, where they are selling, what is it, Kindle, at a loss, then they start earning from the rest of the stuff. So
That's right.
and the other thing is, this is actually just short-term stuff. They wouldn't be selling cars at a loss forever lah. So yeah, if they sell at a loss, I actually would be tempted to buy even more.
So let's build on this, right? Are Sony investors upset that Sony sells a PlayStation 5 at a loss? No, because they know that when you get a PlayStation 5 in a room, people be buying games. Nestle investors upset when Nespresso sells a coffee machine at a loss. In fact, they're saying, just put as many in as many homes as possible. You'll buy the coffee capsules. Fine if it's a loss. So as Tesla CFO said, going forward, the car business is not the only part of Tesla. It is one part of it. It's like Apple in 2001. You've known us as the iMac company, but we want to tell you that we now have iPod. In a few years' time, we want to tell you that we've got iPhone. So same thing for Tesla. Car is one of it. If you're only obsessively focused on automotive margins, you're losing the bigger picture of overall operating margins. If auto margins drop by 10%, but overall Tesla margins go up by 5%, that's a win. As investors, we invested in a whole company, not in a car business. You can't buy Tesla automotive business as a stock. You're buying Tesla as the company, and Tesla as a company is evolving. Even if you forget all the fancy science fiction things, what is real right now is that they've got a software business, they've got an insurance business, they've got an energy business. It is very small, but it's growing faster than the car business. Then for those like me who believe in the science fiction things like robots, like solving autonomy, everything else is just funding or laying the foundation for the real success. Tesla can fail as a car company, and if they succeed as a robotics company, that is a far more valuable business. So that's my view on that. That means as long as the overall operating margins is solid, as long as we see meaningful progress in all the key future products, as long as we see that people still love their cars, it's a good platform that can be used for more things, I'll continue buying.
Yeah, I actually agree with their current strategy of cutting the prices and just try to pump as many cars out as possible. So I do agree with that strategy. I think that's the right move. Like you say, just lay the groundwork and then start building from there to the next phase, right? But for the robot one, I think it's quite interesting because I think even for people like, let's say Chicken, right? He won't say that I don't think Tesla will be will fail in creating robots and so on. It could be possible given it long enough time, right? They can make that successful. It's just that as an investor, should we get too excited on such a goal or such a hope that it will be something? Or should we pay valuations on something that hasn't existed yet? So I think that's the questions that those who are more prudent, they will say, okay, I will just look at it and just watch and monitor, and I won't pay a cent for that valuations now. Yeah, just want to hear your comment on that.
There's space for all kinds of investors. The investors who think of all of that and the world-changing things that could come. There can also be just very conservative investors who say, I'm investing in a good car company. So let's think of it that way. I'm investing in a good company, car company. If you like Tesla in a recession, imagine Tesla in a bull market, in economic boom 2 years from now. Imagine.
I think we don't have to imagine because we just had a bull market not too long ago.
Tears. Nostalgia. Come back.
Back to the moon.
Remembering beautiful times. You know, like those you play those video games, then like you have those like memory recollection. Everything is also dreamy. Oh, yeah.
Darren, I just want to ask you for the Gigafactory, right? Because last year, at the end of last year, Elon was saying that they're going to announce the locations of the next Gigafactories. So I think quite a few of us were excited, like guessing is it Canada or is it
Yeah.
Thailand or is it Indonesia and things like that. So until now, right now it's January 2023 already. We still
Right.
have not had the location of the next maybe 1 or 2 Gigafactory. I don't know. Do you feel that they are postponing the announcement because of the economic conditions, or is it they don't have a plan to open up anymore? And if not, how are they going to reach the 20 million?
Okay. There is economic recession in a large part. Good news is that inflation is coming down. So here's the nuance to this. Most people are thinking, especially newer investors, oh, Tesla needs to announce new factories to expand production. But that's not true. For long-term investors, we know the land that Tesla has in Giga Berlin and Giga Texas, they can double or triple current production. Because of like Giga Texas area is crazy. They can build 4 to 5, 6 more gigafactories over there. The Giga Shanghai, they've got more space to expand the factory. But because it's a very competitive market, the economy in China is still taking some time to recover. They're just holding steady. They've also shared in the earnings call that don't expect major capacity increases in Giga Shanghai at least probably next 6 to 9 months. We will see how this plays out in the coming weeks, whether it's Investor Day. If I'm Tesla, I would want to hold my cards close to get as many good commitments first, and maybe announce them at the same time. What if suddenly on Investor Day I said, okay, these are 2 new Gigafactory locations, Giga Canada and Giga Indonesia. People will go nuts. People will go wild. It'll be insane. Can you imagine? This is a toxic bull language.
Very toxic, eh?
But
So
it's
toxic.
not impossible, yes? It's not impossible.
Yeah, announce first. This year, coming this year.
Why have a Tesla Investor Day, which is your first Investor Day, and just bore people? Here's some concept pictures of what Gen 3 platform looks like. You say some things, right? Like Steve Jobs let the share one more thing. Elon likes that fun.
Really pumping it.
I'm a
Darren,
Tesla
what do you
follower.
think? What do you think they will reveal in the during the Tesla Investor Day? They say it was something about a new car, right?
Third generation platform. So like the compact sedan, compact SUV that hopefully should hit around the $25,000 price range. Third generation platform. I think they'll talk about long-term stock buyback plans. Then they also said that they'll announce their expansion plan. So Investor Day is a good platform to announce their Gigafactory location. Maybe even invite like the prime minister of a country or leader of a state to co-announce like what they did for Nevada earlier this week. So this will be the 3 highlight areas. They probably won't talk about all the robot things because they will save it for AI Day 3. So Tesla is doing annual AI days right now. So they'll do all the science fiction stuff second half of the year. They don't want to scare away institutional investors. Even this earnings call, some people were very happy because they felt like Elon was more or less speaking to a script. That's why when you're saying statistics, he took a while to like, okay, what's this word?
Well, that part is very funny. He struggled to get past that word. That's funny.
Okay.
Actually, I have... Hey, you have a question, Carrie?
No, I wanted to ask you if there's any more question from the Slido.
Yeah, actually, there's one more. And because today, the entire sessions, we are just focusing, talking about Tesla. And while we are talking about this, I think I haven't looked at the price. I think the price should be up today, right? But I mean, Tesla aside, there's this one question talking about the macro one is that, in your view, has the bull market started, or are we at the temporary reprieve before the mothers of all crashes? So, more macro.
If you are a genius, you would feel that there will be a crash coming. or there'll be a further deterioration. Like this is like a fake bull run before it goes down. I think that's what Ken, Chicken Genius, shared on Twitter today or yesterday. I don't know. And I think for all of us as long-term investors, that is not consequential. Specifically to your point right now, Bonti, like Tesla stock price right now is it's up 3% right now. It's 165. But so what? Are we selling Tesla stock now? If we are traders, yes. If you are a trader and you timed it well, you bought it at 105, you now have a 55% gain in 1 month. But we're not traders. So that's not our language. So lead us not into temptation, but to focus.
Darren preaching.
To focus.
Preach us to be long-term Tesla bull.
Yeah. So like for us, like when I say like we're holding until 2030, it's not like we're only buying Tesla stock. I'm buying Apple stock, we've got other assets as well. Bunti, all of us, Calvin, we're all diversifying. Eric's diversifying. That's okay.
Paper hand.
So
Okay, let's come back to the
back-
question. Come on,
yeah,
Calvin.
back to the questions because
Let's
I
come back to the
haven't answered.
actual question. Force me to answer it, Calvin. Make me answer it.
Vision?
So basically, like, do I think this is a bull market? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
I don't know.
What about others? Want to comment, Eric or Kelvin?
Yeah, what does everything?
Me, confirm bull market lah. Well, we got 4 moons here. 4 moons.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's bull market, right? To the moon. Yeah, I think I have like one last question on my side lah. I don't know about you guys. I have one last question to ask Darren, right? I'm not very sure whether you follow this person, Tesla economist, on
Yes. Well,
Twitter.
I read of him. I don't follow him, but I've read that journey.
Oh, he has a YouTube account also. So recently he's been saying about the ramping of the 4680. He's saying that it's not ramping fast enough. Just want to get your thoughts on it, on this 4680. They announced it, I think, about 3 years back during the battery day.
Yes.
So I don't know, at the run rate that is at now, don't know, about 1 million
1,000
4680.
cars.
Enough for 1,000 cars. Is it
Mm.
considered like slow, not fast enough? Like, what is the number of batteries we should be looking at as investors?
Yeah, it's clearly not fast enough for everyone. I think we should all agree that it's not fast enough. Tesla had a much bigger ambitions for the 4680 cell run rate. It almost felt like, like 60% of all Tesla cars should be 4680. This is far from the reality right now. So
Yeah.
it's quite far behind. They're working hard on ramping it up. So again, the fact is it's late. What we don't know is how much can it scale. It's late doesn't mean that they can't scale it well. Apple's been late in launching a lot of products, but they've done it well when they scale. So they say in the quarterly earnings that even for Giga Texas, only 1 out of 4 total 4680 production lines are ramped up. So they can ramp up 3 more. But even then, even with 10x the run rate from 1 to 10,000, it is far too little for Tesla's overall supply.
Yep.
So I think Tesla is calibrating expectation to say that we're not only doing 4680 like for everything, we're still relying a lot on the 2170. We're relying a lot on our partners like Panasonic, CATL to help us as well. We're relying on BYD to supply us the blade batteries in Giga Berlin. So I think that communication could have been done better proactively, just to let people know that yes, we did have this ambition plan for 4680. It's not playing out. Here's our game plan.
Yeah.
So same thing for Giga Texas, Giga Berlin ramp. Actually, Q4 last year, their goal was to ramp up to 5,000 cars per week. Both factories are at 3,000 cars per week.
Yep.
It's not bad if you count like automotive industry average, but for Tesla's goals, it's basically 60% of their goals.
Yeah.
But it was not like directly addressed. Like they didn't say like upfront, like we had a goal of 5,000 per week, we did not hit it. We're at 60%, here's why, and this is what it means for all of you. Say that, just let us know it's okay. We have no problems with you not hitting your targets and your goals. We're not perfect, we all make mistakes, but a few small successes, it all needs to go to the moon. So I think there's an area where Tesla needs to grow.
Yeah.
To just own up to what I did well, what I didn't, where we're going forward to, and even to let people know what's the help I need from all of you.
Yeah. I think that actually comes back to the first question that we had, right? Like I think Kelvin was asking, should Tesla have a PR team? Yeah, so that could have been done by the official channel. I feel. Yeah. So I'm done with all my question already. Thanks, Darren, for answering all my questions. I'm not sure about Kelvin and Bunty. Do you all have any more questions?
Kelvin.
Darren, when are you buying more Tesla?
Oh, I just bought last week. I bought 90 stock at 143. So I've got
No wonder the
2,000
stock price went up.
It will go up, it will go down.
Is there a level that you will say, okay, let's take a pause there, or you will just keep on buying?
So at 2,000 Tesla stock, I think that's already a good baseline. There's no urgency to get more. Right? Guo Guan would prefer that I get at least 10,000 Tesla stock. I'll do my best. Okay, I'll do my best. But I think I go up to 3,000. I'm a happy person. I don't need much in life. I'm happy with a very simple life. Kelvin has already inspired us to eat Cai Fan without fish. I'm happy with that as well. So 2,000, I'm happy with it already. Then if I can hit 3,000 in the next 18 months, great. But otherwise, I'm also buying other stock that is not Tesla, like Apple.
Oh, someone asked me if I'm going to buy more Tesla stock. For me, not right now. I'm trying to diversify away from Tesla, not by selling Tesla, diversify away from Tesla by buying other stocks lah. So, because I realized that one is I'm not rich enough to pump out the stock. Second is I don't need Tesla to become rich lah. That's why I'm not trying to all in into Tesla. So I'm just trying to diversify, lower my risk, to try to reach my end goal the safe way. So that's that.
I like that. When we are not reliant on one thing like Tesla, it's a bonus. If it does well, we can eat more Cai Fan and fish. Great.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Eric.
Yeah, it looks like Kelvin has no more question. Bunty also have no more question. So we
Yes.
just have one last question for all our viewers. Why have you not smashed that like button?
Do it.
Do it. Well, thanks, Darren,
Yeah.
for coming on our podcast today. We are very thankful to you for taking time out of your schedule, your busy schedule, to help us preach the Tesla stock. Of course, all this is not financial advice. This is just for good fun. So I thank you all for joining us today. So yeah, I think that's all. We can call it a day.
So how
恭喜发财，新年快乐，
end the show
Yeah.
with 恭喜发财 and
And
快乐！
to the moon. Happy
To the
New
moon.
Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Okay lah.
Happy New
See you
Year.
guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.